For the very last video of 2023, I thought that we could reflect together on the past 12 months through the lens of weight loss surgery. What is life really like 4.5 years after a gastric sleeve? What did I do in 2023 that I would have or could have never done pre-VSG? Let's take a little tour back through the past 12 months together, shall we? And for even more weight loss surgery content in 2024, travel magic and mamahood, I hope that you will subscribe here to BariTale Coaching. Our community is wonderful and supportive and filled with people just like you and me, so I hope that you'll consider subscribing. If you are new to this channel or you've just happened to stop by, hi, I'm Chelsea, and I'm so glad you're here. Often, at the end of the year, around this time, we set resolutions for the new year. Weight and health, body size, pant size, measurements on a scale often tend to dominate this field, and I receive a plethora of questions about bariatric coaching as well as things that I've done that I couldn't have done before my surgery. In terms of coaching, you need to be here or on my email list because those are the two places I announce it first, and mid-January is what I'm looking at for announcing coaching for Q1. So I will leave my email address linked in the description box below because it goes live there first, and then there will be a video announcement here on YouTube. So make sure you're subscribed if you're interested. In terms of recommending surgery, this is all about context, your lifestyle, and what you're looking for in a post-op world. If you qualify for surgery, the goal of this channel is for me to show you what living a normal, balanced post-op life can look like. Ultimately, this huge decision is one that I cannot make for you, but I'm here to show you how to thrive post-op because as a tool, this has been the #1 thing that has changed the quality and joy of my life. So let's get to what you're here for. What did I do in 2023 that I would have never done pre-surgery? We are gonna take this month by month. So starting in January of 2023, I started the year the same way I hope to start 2024, and that is with a local cold polar plunge. This means a bathing suit in the frosty air where you run into the ocean with a group of other crazy people, stay in as long as you can, and then run back out. So physically, could I have done this when I was 260 plus pounds? Yes, absolutely. Would I? No, never. Nope. The idea of being in a bathing suit in a crowd where you are collectively disrobing and then running, read every part of my body publicly jiggling, no, I would not have had the confidence to do that. Bathing suits used to feel like an evil nemesis designed with the intention of making me feel certain ways about my body. I'm not saying that my body no longer jiggles. In fact, it arguably might jiggle more. If you haven't seen my loose skin video, I will link that here for you because it is a very public display of what bits still have a bit of movement on my body. But I've now done this polar plunge twice. All of the money raised go to local charities that are close to my heart, and I hope to do it again in 2024. In fact, Callie has also done this with me. It's like a refreshing new tradition. Last January also held my first post-op cycling spin class. This was before my knee was diagnosed with arthritis and a broken meniscus. So this was when we were starting out the year. I went with a friend to a class that I was honestly terrified to do because I wasn't sure that I could handle it endurance-wise. And I honestly was like afraid of the culture of spin. This is a real like 60-minute cool girl workout situation. You are in the dark. The music is loud. The instructor is doing things. You have choreography to do. I didn't love it, and that's okay, but I was able to do it with confidence. Again, in a 260 plus pound body. I'm 5'2" for reference. I like to say that I'm 5'3". I'm not. It's really just when I have shoes on. I would never have walked into this class for fear that like the instructor would take pity on me, or that other people would look at me, look at my body and be like, oh, good for her for trying something new in January. Like, I just didn't need that stigma. I didn't want anyone to hear me breathing heavily, to watch me work out. Like, public working out was not something I ever did pre-surgery. All of these worries came from that really mean voice in my head. Again, her name is Bianca, and I know she's only here to protect me now, but at the time, I thought she was there to speak the truth about what other people assumed of me based on the shape and size of my body. She stopped me from trying a lot of things. In February, we went sledding. So we don't get a ton of snow here on Cape Cod, so when it does snow, it's a pretty big deal. We get excited, we go sledding. So in years past, I would have walked down to the hill with my family and watched. Now I actually get to participate. I can walk up and down the hill. I can get on a children's sled or snow tube and not feel like I'm going to break it. These things may seem trivial, but if you watched the first ever weight loss surgery video that I posted, which was 24 hours before my surgery, I thought no one was ever going to watch this video, and here we are 4 years later. But I shared that the primary reason for me having weight loss surgery was to be a more present mama, so I could be there for Callie and participate in things that she wanted to do, live a longer, healthier life, and break the generational cycle around obesity and trauma with weight. So being able to do something like an everyday activity, sledding, with my daughter feels like a pretty huge non-scale victory to me. I also took Mark to Nashville in February. This was after the 5K run that tore my meniscus. So while we were in Nashville, I didn't know there was something wrong with my knee just yet. I rode a mechanical bull. While this is not my classiest moment, this is public evidence that I can do something that I thought before would be humiliating for me. The idea of being on a mechanical bull in a bar full of people with like my stomach hunched over or my legs exposed, which you can see in this video at the end where like my shorts are on display, that would have never happened. I would have assumed that the person operating the bull was judging me, that the people in the crowd were laughing at me. That could also be true now, but I just don't care. This was exciting and silly, which is exactly how I think you're supposed to feel on a fake animal trying to buck you off, rather than embarrassing and humiliating. March brought me back to my roots. Quite literally. In previous videos, I have shared that I tried to make everything about my body invisible by making everything else large. So my hair was really damaged and lighter and very, very crispy. It didn't grow, it wouldn't curl, it was like crunchy at all the ends. Super unhealthy. I decided last summer, hey, we're gonna try, like this is 2 summers ago, we're gonna try to go back to trying some blonde in our hair for fun, and quickly realized that that is just a road to damage. So in March, I went back to my natural hair color. And while I love a good personal treatment, today I actually have magnetic eyelashes on. We're doing a little bit of testing. I used to have really big false lashes, fake nails, a super heavy faux tan. And I deeply believe in doing what makes you feel best for you, whether that's surgically related or not. Like, I still get Botox in here. I really cut back on the false things in my life because they don't need to compensate for my body any longer. I didn't do those things because they brought me joy. I did them to hide, as if when you looked at me, you would see my lashes or my blonde hair or really long nails and not the size of my body. So I did them as a mechanism for hiding my size. Now, what I choose to do with my hair, lashes, nails, body, etc. is for fun and joy and not trying to hide the shape of who I am. In April of 2023, my family, including my parents, my sister's family, my cousin, we all went to St. Thomas on a trip that was gifted to us the Christmas prior from my parents. And guess what? I wore shorts. I feel like I'm talking to a crowd who understands me and why this is such a big deal. Pre-surgery, I couldn't wear shorts because every time I walked, I had what I affectionately call chub rub. My thighs still very much touch together, but I'm able to wear normal length shorts and have the material touch together and not just my skin. I used to not wear shorts because I would spend the day either wearing Spanx underneath them, which is super uncomfortable, or like pulling them down constantly out of my crotch so that my legs wouldn't get that like red, bumpy, uncomfortable, hot chafiness that comes with your skin, sweat, and movement. So wearing shorts and taking pictures in them felt like such a win. I love this two-piece set. This trip also brought jet skiing and photos in bathing suits. I hadn't jet skied alone since I was probably 16 and my family went on our first cruise to the Bahamas. And I actually felt brave enough to go out on a jet ski by myself, whereas before I would have felt like I needed another person on the jet ski because if I fell off, I wouldn't have had the strength to get back on. And we visited a dolphin sanctuary. We went to a private island. When we took photos and I was in a bathing suit, I didn't use my daughter or my nieces as props to physically cover my body, which I had done for many years of their little babyhood lives. In fact, for this occasion, my sister and I actually bought matching bathing suits so that we could show them off in photos. May 19th, 2023 is a day that changed my life. My sister and I saw Taylor Swift in the Eras Tour at Gillette Stadium in seats that we could only have ever dreamt about. And while seeing Taylor Swift has absolutely nothing to do with my body size per se, I wore a dress that I would have only ever felt comfortable wearing in the safety bubble that is Magic Kingdom. Disney has always afforded me a safe space no matter what my body looks like, but I really wanted to wear this sheer rainbow tutu tulle dress as an era of lovers. And I feel like because of weight loss surgery, I felt really confident to do so. I was covered in glitter. I had gemstone eye makeup. I felt like I was living the best version of myself, like my inside finally matched my outside. In June, I took Mark on a romantic Cape Cod dinner train for our wedding anniversary. While this may seem like a cute, normal, romanticize your life moment, pre-op, I would have worried about if my body would fit in the seats, and I would not have wanted other people on board to watch me eat. Now, I rarely, if ever, worry about will my body fit in a car, train, plane, ride, like in Disney or Universal. I don't think about my body in terms of like the literal vehicle it is going to be in because I assume that it's just going to fit now. I'm not squished. I don't need any type of accommodations any longer. So it's just not taking up brain space. Also, eating in public is not something I worry about or think about. I don't think about what I'm ordering and if people will judge me. I simply order what is on plan and looks good. Like, I used to be that person who would order only a salad or super small portions to like prove to the public that, hey, I may be fat, but it's not because of what I'm eating. Wrong. So much therapy was needed in that pre-op, girl. In July, I celebrated my 4-year surgiversary, and Mark and I went to Nantucket. We were supposed to fly on the world's tiniest plane. I will link that video here. And ultimately, we did end up taking a boat over to Nantucket because the weather conditions were bad, but I had to like give my weight to several strangers in order to be able to get on this plane. Also, I would not have fit on this tiny plane. The stairs getting in were so narrow and just tiny where you have to duck onto the plane. You put your luggage in the actual wings of the plane. I would not have fit. The moment I saw the plane in a pre-op body, I would have been like, no, absolutely not. We are getting a ferry to our favorite island right now. This is something I still hope to do, though I am a little bit scared just because I can get plane sick. July also brought running in the rain with Callie, Surrey cycling like a tourist in my own town, and August was a really big month for post-op me. We were lucky enough to go to Disney during the literal hottest week of the summer in Florida, and then follow that up with our very first Disney cruise, which was on the Fantasy. Independently, I would do either of these at any size. However, sweating in the August fire-blazing sun of Disney would be so much more uncomfy in that bigger body. I would also have still tried to like do my hair with a blow dryer, worn a face load of makeup, needed to cover my arms and my thighs with more clothing so that no one could see what they looked like. I would have needed so many more things to feel comfortable, and then on top of that, sweat extra and double. My approach post-op is when it's that hot, it's the least amount of clothing, right? The thinnest, most sweat-resistant layers. It's also way less makeup, natural hair. Like, we're not going to Disney in August for a beauty pageant. Even though we're gonna film videos, I was still able to feel confident being a more natural version of myself. In Mexico, which was a port on the cruise, we also did a dolphin activity because Callie loved the one that we did in St. Thomas so much. And a dolphin actually pushes you on a kickboard. So more bathing suit shots, but you also have to give your weight so that you know, or at least the people working at the place where the dolphins push you, they know the strength needed for that dolphin. So like, that's not something I think I would have been able to do actually at 260 plus-ish pounds. In Jamaica, which was our last stop before Disney's private island on the Fantasy, we went ziplining and on a majestic river, like tube cruise situation. I don't have photos of those because we were not allowed to bring our phones or cameras or literally anything with us, but I would not have met the weight requirement prior to surgery, so I would have missed out on these amazing opportunities. For ziplining, we had to physically like walk up a mountain to get to our first platform where you then go down, 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 like for the remaining of the 5 to 6 zip lines that you do. And I don't know if I would have had the endurance to physically get up the mountain because it was steep and it was a lot of stairs and then off trail walking too. Oh, and I wore crop tops in public. In September, we took the boat over to Martha's Vineyard and I jumped off the boat in a two-piece in a very public boat space. Later in the month, Mark and I participated in a Oktoberfest, even though it was only September, where he had to throw, or we had to throw to each other like slippery sausages in a bucket covered in a poncho, I would not have done this. Athletics is not like my go-to thing. You might know that. But I wouldn't have done this as a bigger bodied person because I would have been embarrassed about my lack of athletics due to the size of my body. Like, as if those two things are automatically connected. So this time I fit into the poncho, but also like I didn't care if I didn't catch any in a bucket because it was supposed to be fun, and that voice in my head would have not allowed me to enjoy it, would have felt like I was being judged. Also, we won that round. So athletic. October brought my first ever yoga retreat. And I did film that, so I'll put that video here for you as well. I would have never done this before surgery. I mentioned like public working out was not something I ever did. And it's not because necessarily that I preferred working out at home, which it turns out I think I do. It was because I didn't want other people watching me fail, or the perception that I was failing because I needed to modify or couldn't keep up with what was going on in the class. I always associated the ability of my body with its size. This limited what I was willing to do with it, especially if others could see me doing that thing. I was really proud of myself for going to this yoga retreat, kind of not knowing what to expect, and also feeling very successful. While we were out in the Berkshires, Callie and I also did 2 different types of like alpine race cars, and I fit into both cars. I wasn't concerned about the weight limit, and we had so much fun. And not for nothing, in October, I did wear a Reputation era outfit that included pleather pants and a feathery crop top for Callie's 8th Taylor Swift inspired birthday party. This past November was my 20th reunion from high school, and I never would have gone in my bigger body. Simply put, I would have been too embarrassed. As if I don't share my life online, as if I'm not on social media and no one would have known, or that I wasn't a bigger person then either. I just would have been embarrassed. Even though I've achieved success in so many other areas of my life, that's something that I couldn't ever reconcile before surgery. I hadn't done the therapy work, the mental health work to figure out that my body needed a tool that wasn't dieting in order to be successful with long-term weight loss. For the reunion, I went with my high school bestie. We walked down because it was at a place that's local, close to my house, and I had a blast catching up with people who I haven't talked to in literally decades. We had our high school name tags made by the person who organized this, which was a really funny, terrible touch, because I feel like for so many of us, the glow up from high school has actually been so real. So that was a nice validation, but it was great to catch up with people. And I actually had a few people tell me, I had weight loss surgery and I follow your story and you were an influence on that. That was such a nice part of the evening where I felt like what I've been doing here actually does impact other people, whether I've known them in my life or not. In 2023, I experienced so many big and small non-scale victories. But I also want to share, because I'm being honest with you, that I also experienced the biggest weight stall that I've had since surgery 4.5 years ago. My knee diagnosis stopped me from being able to run or do any impact-based workouts, which creates this issue of being able to maintain a calorie deficit that's realistic. I didn't hit my weight goal this year. It is still a work in progress and not something that I now use as a success or failure for the entire year. Despite this, I know that this year was successful for me in a post-op world. My health is better than it's ever been. I am more capable now to do things that I've wanted to do and haven't been able to or wouldn't try. And I look forward to exploring what 2024 holds for my health, my capacity, and potentially new solutions for my knee. I hope that this video helped put things into perspective for you or gave you more concrete examples of what life can look like post-bariatric surgery. If you removed the obstacles to weight loss surgery, What could 2024 look like for you? I hope you think about that and let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching this 2023 recap. I'm already excited to see what 2024 is